Hey there, what's going on guys? Ash here, back again with another Gozyuger episode review, this time talking about episode 9. Now, according to Toei or on one of the blogs or one of the TV Guide websites, episode 9 of Gozyuger is the end of round 1, the first story arc within the series, and then round 2 will begin next week with episode 2 beginning the next story arc within the series. So much like with what Bunbunja was doing last year with their Lapse story arc, or with what Kamen Rider has been doing for the longest time, it looks like Gozyuger will once again be dividing their episodes into story arcs, which is really cool to see. And that kind of makes sense because Gozyuger is a fighting series, an all-out series, you could say in a way, so it would make sense to have like a certain set amount of episodes be a certain round of episodes. So I'm guessing that Gozyuger will be split into 3 story arcs, or at least 4 story arcs. So you'll have round 1, round 2, round 3, and then when we get to the final batch of episodes, that will be like the final round, they'll probably call it. Who knows, that's one of my predictions. Now, episode 9, we see the debut of Horu's brand new weapon and his mecha formation with that weapon being the WolfDecalibur50 and the TegaSword DekaClaw. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the TegaSword DekaClaw when we first saw it via toy form, because the toy did not do a lot of favors for that mech formation with how the Megazord toy looks, with how they join together. But seeing the mech finally in action is kind of won me over because we get to see it in motion, we get to see it fighting, and it looks a lot better in the show than its toy form. And same with the WolfDecalibur, even though like the toy version is this stinky dagger, and it's probably no doubt going to get a memorial version at the end of sometime next year, probably what it will probably get announced at the end of this year. Seeing his caliber, I really do enjoy it. Like the vibes I got when I first saw it was sort of like that red version of the Saber, or the red version of the Dragon Dagger that they had in Danger and Danger. So it's finally cool to see his trademark weapon finally being used. So last week's episode we had Horu leaving the team because he says that he had given up on his friends, he didn't want to be a Gozyuger anymore, and he walked away from being a ranger. So this episode picks up where that last one left off on, where you have Horu working as a waiter or as a butler at one of his restaurants, and someone who comes to the restaurant is Fire Candle. And this sort of gets the two into a little bit of a competition where they don't know, well, Fire Candle doesn't know it's Horu, so they sort of have this competition between each other to be the best butler who can sort of get the most points. And it was a fun little gag, a fun little episode with everything going on. And once again, Fire Candle continues to be a really freaking awesome villain, as this episode gives him that sort of motivation. He's not like a one-trick pony villain. He's actually got some motive, some character behind him with everything going on. So you have this scene where Horu and Fire Candle have this discussion, and Horu tells Fire Candle that he's scared of losing someone important to him, and he's scared of being betrayed by the people he cares about, which is why he's fine with being an outcast and being the lone wolf. But Fire Candle goes on to say, look, being a lonely wolf is more low than being a loser. And he gives his point, or his view on being number one by Fire Candle by saying, look, I seek out those battles because I don't care about winning. It's the thrill of the fight itself. And he wants to fight Horu and Gerudo to fully fuel his passion. And I freaking like that, because Fire Candle, his whole motivation is he doesn't care about being number one. From what I gathered with the subs that I got, he just cares about the thrill of the fight. He just wants to fight and have that satisfaction of having a really good fight. So he's got that Goku in him, where he just wants to fight people who are stronger than him and have that thrill of the battle. And I like that. I like that. So with that discussion that the two have, Fire Candle walks away with his brand new motivation, his brand new will on life. But Fire Candle says, look, I don't mind losing as long as I have a fun battle, I'm fine with that. After that, Horu then has a discussion with TegaSword, and Horu tells TegaSword by saying, look, I'm scared of losing everyone I care about or anyone I care about, and I turned my back on the people I care about and they don't deserve my friendship. But TegaSword is like, look, you need to break free of your fears and just fight. Don't worry about if people are going to betray you or not. Just keep fighting and slice your world open up even further. So, again, I'm probably mistranslating it or miswording it, but TegaSword just says to Horu, look, cut out of it, cut it out, stop being a bitch, and just fight. So while this whole restaurant thing was going on, you had the other Gozyuger sort of talking about Horu, and then Gerudo showed up, Kyun showed up, and he says, look, Horu's my brother, and he's my puppet. I decide who his friends are, I decide what he's going to do in life, and if I think that I don't think you guys should be his friends, well, I'll eliminate you guys. So this leads to Gerudo having a fight with the Gozyugers, and the Gozyugers get mollywopped by Gerudo in this fight. And once again, we get to see Gerudo's ring powers being summoned again, summoning Geki Ranger, summoning Jaka or Red Jaka or Red Spade, I believe it is, Red Ace, I don't know. I haven't seen all of Jaka, I've just only seen clips and reviews of it, or video essays on it. And of course, there's Denji Man Red. So during this fight, the Gozyugers, like I said, they get mollywopped because they're not strong enough to defeat Gerudo. And Byakuya ends up getting his Bunbunja ring stolen during the fight because when he's in the battle, he's like, oh, I'll use long range as well. And that doesn't really work out for him because he gets his ring stolen in the end. But later on, Horu soon arrives with his brand new weapon, and he's able to sort of turn the tides in the fight against Gerudo. So once again, he's able to defeat his brother, but his brother ends up teleporting away. And this is something we see at the end of the episode, which I'll get to in a bit. But the other Gozyugers, they tell Horu by saying, look, you still owe us debt, like you owe us like fees from drawing my manga, you owe me fees for being a pop star and stuff like that, detective fees and stuff like that, your debt with the restaurant. So they appreciate him, but they won't say it. They'll just say, look, you owe us money, so that's why we're keeping you around, which is kind of a nice little thing. Like they appreciate him, but they won't say it in a way, which is kind of funny and adorable in a weird way with how the friendship is between Horu and the other Rangers, where like they like him, they think he's cool, but they're like, look, you still owe us money and that's why we're keeping you around. So nice little touch there. So after that, we soon get the debut of the Tegazord Wolf or TegaClaw, and seeing it in action against Fire Candle is really freaking awesome. We get an awesome mech nighttime battle, which is always cool to see. And once again, like I said, the fight scene between the two mechs is really freaking awesome. And seeing the TegaSword DekaClaw, whatever you want to call it, is really freaking amazing as well. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of the toy when the toy debuted, but seeing the mech in action, it looks really freaking amazing. So Horu's able to defeat Fire Candle and his mech again, reigniting the fight because, like I said earlier, Fire Candle doesn't care if he wins or loses, he just cares about the thrill of the battle, and he's probably going to be fighting Horu throughout the rest of this show, moving forward to the final arcs of this series. But the episode ends on, you have Gerudo being teleported back to No Man's Land or No Man's World, and he rips off his jacket, he rips off his shirt, and on his back, he's got this glowing X mark on the back of it, and it looks like it's slowly growing. It's slowly, like, taking over his back. It looked like it was slowly, like, pulsating with everything going on. So I do wonder if the X means that he's being controlled by something, or it's something else going on, but he's got this giant X scar on his back, and it looks really cool, despite it being, like, a little CGI special effect. But that's pretty much where episode 9 ends, apart from like friendships rekindle at the end of the episode. But overall, this episode of Gozyuger was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see where the show is going to go next moving forward. And next week we'll begin the second story arc, where it looks like we're going to be seeing a lot of interesting stuff moving forward. So with that said, I'll bring this video to a close. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, take care, bye.